Let's talk about the new 9 multichromes from Clionadh Cosmetics, as well as the Sweet Aesthetics palette from Dede Signature. So Clionadh recently came out with 9 new multichromes, which are all addition to the different formulas within their stained glass collection. There's some Earth Vibrance, Glitter Vibrance, Dimensional Light, Earth Vibrant, and Series 3, and I will be showing you dedicated swatches of each of the shades so you can see them up close and personal and get a feel for them. And I'm also going to be doing some swatch comparisons, and I was sent these in PR, so thank you so much to Clionadh for sending this over to me. And I do have an affiliate code which I will put up on the screen in case you're interested in any of these shades or any of their other shades. I have a lot of Clionadh content. I do have a playlist which will be in the description box, and I'm very excited about a lot of these shades because there's some really beautiful, spicy, neutral, super dimensional, more like everyday kind of shades that have so many different sparkles throughout them, and they're super dimensional shades. And I will also be creating these 2 looks that I have on right now, and I will be pairing it with the Sweet Aesthetics eyeshadow palette from Dede Signature. This one was also sent to me in PR, and I do have an affiliate code with this brand as well. So they've come out with this all matte eyeshadow palette, and this is a new matte formula which I'm very excited to try. I think they have been improving their mattes every time since a couple of palettes ago. So I was definitely intrigued to try out this palette because I'm not the biggest fan of their mattes in their previous palettes. They just weren't my favorite. They were workable. They also came out with a couple of different things in this collection, including some eyeshadow primers, but I would just be using this shade, DS Cookie, which is closest to my skin tone. So let's get right into the detailed swatches, comparisons, and then the 2 looks, and I'll give you some of my thoughts at the end of the video. So first up is Alloy, which is described as a multi-dimensional shadow with a soft taupe base intermixed with green, silver, and red medium large size particles and a subtle aqua shift. And the base is definitely quite a bit transparent, but you can see the taupe base a little bit on an angle. I do see a flash of green straight on depending on the lighting, and the sparkles throughout are just so multi-dimensional for sure. Exothermic is a multi-dimensional shadow with a tan base with medium-sized particles that shift pink peach chartreuse with hints of aqua glitter. Super sparkly. I would definitely use a tacky primer with both of these shades as they are quite sparkly. I see a shift to gold, a little bit to a green at a very harsh angle. And this one has a bit more of a base than the previous shade. A very slight warm mid-toned beige and so many flecks throughout it. Tiara is a large particle indigo base with bright cobalt violet reflex. Very vibrant. I would say it's got a bit of an ultraviolet vibe to it as well, and it is quite opaque, though I think you might be able to sheer it out just a tiny bit, but it took a little bit to spread it out evenly. Ascension is a warm purple base with a bright gold lime aqua shift intermixed with medium large multicolored glitter particles. This one does remind me a little bit of, I want to say like kind of opulent a little bit, but slightly more purpley. And this one is ultra sparkly, definitely has a little bit more texture to it, but the particle is not too chunky, so it does smooth out. And it is ultra sparkly. It's got the light plum base to it. Base is a chartreuse base large particle glitter that shifts peach, lime, and aqua. I don't really see the, oh, there it is a little bit there. I do predominantly see the chartreuse and lime. Archway is a smoky plum base with small medium particles that shift peach pale yellow, and the shade is based on their top selling nail polish called Dark and Stormy. This one is so interesting. Really love this shade. It's got such an interesting base. It almost looks a little bit teal in certain lighting and angles. It's a super shifty shade, and this one is very smooth. I would say this one and the iridescent shade are the smoothest from these new 9 shades. Electron is a multi-dimensional shadow with a gray base with medium large particles that shift pewter, lime, aqua, and hints of pale lilac glitter. Super shift. Definitely very shifty. I see that lime green and all the way to the aqua. Very vibrant, very sparkly. This is definitely a great everyday kind of neutral shade. Incandescence has a translucent white base that shifts bright red, orange, yellow, lime. I think it looks more like a pink than a red, but I definitely see the orange, yellow, and lime shift in this one. And as for the base, I think you can kind of see certain angles. I see a little bit of like a tealish grayish base to this one. It is extremely shifty, very smooth. This one has the same texture as Archways. And the last shade is Masonry, and this is a medium taupe gray base with small particles that shift platinum lime aqua with a touch of warmth. This one is really beautiful, cooler toned dimensional shade. I love the shifts in this one, and I love that it looks taupey straight on, not on the textured side like some of these other shades. Be trying out the new Dede Signature eyeshadow primer. I have a feeling this is gonna be kind of like the P. Louise, so probably not best for if you're looking for a lunch. What is happening? It's already looking like it's leaking or something. Probably not best for hooded oily lids. These kinds of primers tend to not really have the greatest longevity. So I'm just gonna tap on a little bit. I do just want to see how their new mattes blend on the new primer that just launched along with the palette. So I picked up Dahlia, and I'm gonna put that right into the crease. I'm gonna be creating a look with Archway, so I felt like this was a great shade to kind of make it a little bit more pop-like. You could definitely do just some warmer toned neutral brown, warmer toned browns as well. There is no deepening up shade in here. Well, it has a little bit of like plumminess to it, so I might just actually do that. I think I'm gonna go into Larkspur. So I'm taking Larkspur, and this shade is very similar to the violet shade right next to it, and I'm just popping that onto the outer corner. And I'm going to switch back to this fluffier brush and just blend the edges. I'm going to take a little bit more of Larkspur right in here. Just really rolling it up there, trying to deepen this up a little bit. And then blending the edge. Picked up Archway on the Singe Beauty EO4 brush, and I'm just going to mist it a little bit with just some water. And it's going to go right all over the lid. I feel like it's not really, it's kind of applying a little strange. Oh, that is such a fun color. So pretty. I feel like this is a really fun combination for sure, because I can see a little bit of the plum come in on the shift. Prime with the Dede Signature eyeshadow primer again, and I'm going to be going in with Exothermic. So this one has a bunch of beautiful flecks throughout it. So I'm taking Tulip because this really matches the kind of base color of this shade, even though it is definitely on the sheerer side. This is kind of the color that you see when you look at it in the pan. I feel like I can tell a difference with the mattes for sure. Even just from swatching, they do feel much better. Taking Blue Daisy on the outer corner, and I'm just gonna pack it on. This one definitely feels like it has quite a bit of kick up. And I'm just gonna blend that on this outer corner. And just a little bit underneath my lower lash line. And I'm gonna go back in with this brush and just go over the edges. And now I feel like this shade was just really powdery. It could be in the nature of this kind of really vibrant cobalt blue. But I feel like, I know like Blend Bunny has a shade like this in the Blends palette. And I don't feel like I remember it being this thin. So this still feels pretty thin. But it is layering really nicely, which is awesome. So I'm just going to go over the edges again with this brush, which has nothing on it, or maybe some residue of the other shade. I feel like that's a really fun, like smoky blue eye so far. So Exothermic is a little bit on the like PC, slightly flaky side. So there's a little bit more texture to it. So I definitely want to go in with a shimmer primer. I'm going to be taking the Fernet Pixie Epoxy. This is how it picks up on a brush. Ooh. I can definitely see like pinky, green, blue flecks throughout it. It is such a fun dimensional shade. Oh, I love it. There's so much going on. I mean, look at that. It's literally like fireworks on your lids. Definitely have some fallout with this one. So I would recommend doing your eyes before the base. I'm going to take a little bit of incandescence and I'm going to pop that on the inner corner. And just a little bit underneath the lower lash line, just in here. So first I'm going to talk about the primer. So far, so good in terms of blending, especially the Sweet Aesthetics palette mattes on this. No issues whatsoever. If you're familiar with the P. Louise eyeshadow primer and you love that one, then this is a great option. But if you have hooded, oily lids, this might not be the best eyeshadow base for you because this tends to crease on me, this kind of formula where it's almost like a concealer. It doesn't fully set down. So personally, I wouldn't be using this if I wanted like 12 hours of wear time for sure. As for the mattes in the palette, I think that they're definitely an improvement. I think that they blended really nicely, they layered really nicely. They're just still a little bit, some of them were a little bit on the thinner side, specifically Blue Daisy, but I could definitely tell so far from the shades that I have used that there has been an improvement. That being said, I haven't used all the mattes, so stay tuned for an update. I will be featuring this in my June palette ranking video, so I'll make sure to use the rest of the shades and really just put it to the test. Color story wise, obviously this is meant to be quite a bit more of a rainbow colorful kind of palette. I just wish there was just a little bit of more difference specifically between kind of these three shades. I think that especially these two are very, very similar. I don't love the gray in here. It feels like a little bit random in here. I would have preferred like a deepening up shade, maybe like a dark, cooler tone brown or a neutral brown to really be able to pair with all the colorful shades in here. But those are just some of my thoughts so far, and some of them are definitely dependent on your preferences. So moving on to the Clionadh shades, I definitely have some favorites in here. For sure, Exothermic, I mean, it is so sparkly. It is so interesting. There's so many little flecks throughout it. It's a unique shade. When I first watched it, I was like, I have no idea what to even compare this to. I also love Alloy. I think this one is also very special. I haven't used yet, but I'm definitely intrigued. And then Masonry is also a great kind of everyday multi-chrome neutral shade, but I think this one will pair really great with some more cooler tone mattes. So those are just some of the shades I really feel like I gravitate towards. I would love to see even more of these more neutral leaning, but very dimensional and very special shades from Clionadh. I think they're a great addition to their stained glass collection lineup. And I also have their fruit lighters, which I'll be doing a dedicated video on, where I will show you cheek swatches of each of the shades, so stay tuned for that. Let me know in the comments below which of these new shades is your favorite, and if you plan on picking any of these up, or if you've already picked them up, what do you think of them? I will love to hear your thoughts. And that's everything for this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.